Okay, so I am going to be building a sort of GitHub style activity graph. I have a, let me see here. There's something here. Sort of representing what we want. You might recognize it as something looking GitHub style, but what we have is some block of squares. I'm not going to explicitly call out the date and month bits yet, but we have 7 blocks down, and then each of these is a week, and then these are months. Actually, I will go ahead and call those bits out. Okay, so we want to have some density. So like here we have a date and some number, and that's going to impact the darkness, or the hue rather, of the square in question. So let's play with some types that we know we want to have, and I'm just going to say like to do extract script from ScreenFlow recording, because that is what I'm going to do. And I have a new project here. It's ActivityGraph. So I will just elm package install just to give me a starting point. Make a new main.elm. Yeah, it'll work. Okay, and so module main. I'm not going to do Webpack stuff yet. Exposing whatever. And we will have main. Right, so just to get our starting stuff going. And yeah, actually, I already know I want to bring in the Webpack stuff. Actually, screw this. I'm just going to go to the time tracker project because it is easy for me to work in. So bear with me, and I'm going to check out -b feature implement activity graph. Okay, and so we will just on this page here. I know one other thing I'm going to do, because it's going to bother the crap out of me, is when I do sort of this bit here, I don't want to force a redirect anymore, just because that kind of gets in my way. Actually, what I want to do is just this, and I'm going to just comment this out for now. Okay, not okay. Got to put that down here so that I feel comfortable with life. This is not important, but whatever. Alright, so now we have this thing. I'm going to go ahead and run it, so that means I need to come in here just for the sake of having the backend running, even though I don't think I'll need the backend anytime soon. Okay, that's that. And one more thing, I didn't need to do that. Time tracker elm npm run dev. So now I have my dev server running. And I'm going to move this stuff over. Alright. And, by the way, if you want to write good Elm code, you need to listen to blindside. It's pretty important. Alright. Gonna plug in my laptop so I don't have to get irritated by that thing. I'll get ADD about seeing that. And I have about 30 minutes that I think are remaining for me. I'll probably work to the end of this album, which will be at most 10 p.m. So let's keep moving. So what we have is a source view. I'm just going to put this in project show. And sort of instead of this, I'm going to add a new view. I'm going to say activity graph. It doesn't need anything else, and so I'll have activity graph. It produces HTML type message. Okay, so what's here? We'll say like lol, right? Let's make sure this is working. And look at the projects. Click on any project. Lol. Good. All right, so this is the activity graph. So what do we want? First off, I'm going to say, I already know I want to break this out into a different module. So we'll say activity graph, because I'm going to extract this for sure. Activity graph.view, and we will import. Let's put it in view. I'm just going to grab all this stuff. Definitely don't need it. I don't really need the model. I don't need the types. I do need message and HTML. I'll leave that stuff. Don't need routes. Don't need view helpers. Don't need that, obviously. All right, so that's probably what I need. It should still be working. It's not. Run the build. And it doesn't, there's no view function. Whoopsie. All right, so that should be just fine. And it's not. Oh, goodness gracious. Can I find module view.ActivityGraph? I'm going to remove Elm stuff, build artifacts, user. Oops, user. That should go away in 0.18, I believe, unless it's related to sort of Webpack contention. Okay, what is the problem here? It says it built just fine. Move this over there. That'll be fine. View project show. Oh, no clue. Okay. So we know we want a few things. Let's just go ahead and say this. So we know we want to have like a box per day. We want to have 7 boxes in a column. We want to have a column per week, right? Same thing. We want to have hues for the boxes. Let's call it 0 through 5. No, we'll do 0 through 10, whatever. We want to have, what else? Whatever, we'll start making types. So we have a type alias, no, we have a type box. And you can make it with like box and then a date. That has more than the date. I'll say about box and then it has like metadata. So type alias metadata is, we'll just say some text to display. And let's screw all the metadata. So we have a box that has a hue, right? We said a box per day, but we don't care about the day part. And they have a hue. So type hue, and this would be just, I'm just going to make a union type for H1, H2, whatever, we'll call it 5. Okay, so the box has a hue. And so let's say like we want to have like a view box. So let's have our initial metadata, or initial data, whatever, mock data, sure. And here I'm just going to have a list of, no, I don't need that yet. So here I'm just going to say like, let's view a box, right? So view a box. We'll make a box. The box, H1. Definitely need an H0. Okay, a box. I'll make it H5. And that should do it. So what is view box? We know that it takes a box into HTML of, it doesn't produce any messages, so we'll just ignore that part. It's going to eventually, so whatever. Okay, view box. And for now, I'm just going to say like it makes a div that is style width 1 rem height 1 rem background color red. Oh, Sure. We'll assume that's okay, and then it'll have no text. And sure, we'll do that. And then break this stuff up. I'm sure there's a way to have this kind of automatically broken up a little bit nicer for me, but whatevs. Okay, so let's see. Is that going to compile? I just don't know. We can just go look. Seems to be. And yet, not really. Really not happy with my Webpack setup. Style. Okay, so we want just HTML.attributes exposing style. And how's that go? Oh, goodness gracious. Really getting irritated by this. Not sure why that would be happening, but it keeps happening now. Okay, cool. We have a box. So we want to make a list of boxes. Let's just assume we're just going to put them in a row. Okay, so that's one box. Let's just say well, whatever. Let's say box. Box is a function that takes a hue and makes a box. So box hue. So we already have that function. What am I talking about? That's box itself. Okay, so we'll just go and make like some fake boxes. And this is a list of box. So we'll make like a box H5, box H3, box H2. Sure. And I just want to say like list.map few boxes. And I will add also margin right 0.1 rem and margin bottom. Let's see if that builds. Oh, this needs to go inside like a div or something. That should work. Cool, so they show up sort of in that manner. I'm not going to worry about. Right now I'm just going to get a single row working like we want it to. I say row, column. Okay, so we have different hues, but we're not showing the different hues. So right here we say like background color red, and I will just say, take this out here, and I will say add the box color box. I'll call it box. Sure. Make a function for that. Box, background color. Takes a box into, I don't remember what this is. I'm going to say to a string. I know that's not right, so we'll see what that ends up being. Oh, sorry, I know what it's into. Derp, derp, derp. It's into a string in this case. And so we'll just say, again, background color. Say background color. Let's say BG here. So like BG equal case box of and I'm not sure the best way to actually sort of decompose that without, I guess, yeah, I'm not 100% sure the best way to decompose this inside of a case statement without it being problematic later. I don't care yet though, so I only have a limited number of things that could be, right? So if it's a H0, then our background color will be RGBA. Trying to think if there's whatever, this will work. RGBA, we'll say like 255 0 0 0. So it should be transparent. We'll say H1, H2, H3, H4, H5. We'll just go up one for each of them. Okay, and maybe that'll build. Oh, so I don't want to do that anyway. Let me do. I'm kind of appending a list here, but that's not what I want. What I want to do is just do that. Cons. Okay, cool. So that works, and it's kind of all right. I don't know why that would show up, but whatever. Okay, so now we have kind of this thing, right? So we can start to make extra boxes. And so I'm going to say, rather than view box, or rather than view, I'm going to say, we just want to say like a div containing, I'm going to say view week on boxes, and that's actually what this is going to be. View week takes a list of box and returns HTML message. Sure. Whatever. I'll call this mock boxes just so we're not reusing things, because I never know when shadowing is going to bite me. And it's not hard for me to fix right now while I'm thinking about it. Okay, so 141 equals sign. My goodness. I really got to get some kind of syntax checking in this Vim. Okay, so that still works. And so what we want to do is say like, okay, mock boxes is actually doesn't need to be a list of boxes. It needs to be a list of. Let's ignore mock boxes. Okay, let's have a new type. So I want to have a type that's a week. And back in the day, I would have said like, okay, well, let's like make an array of these things, but a week is not an array of things, right? It's not an arbitrary number of things. It is 7 things. So I don't want a list of boxes. What I want is week, and then box, 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 box. And so now I can't make a week that's not 7 long, so that's nice. And so what I want to say is like a mock week rather than mock boxes. And so this would just be a week. And so this will be a week. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh gosh, undo. Oh, how's that what just happened? Oh, I didn't. There we go. Oh gosh, no. I messed up, people. Okay, macro. Insert that, go down, stop. Run it, run it, run it. That was more effort than it was worth. Okay, so when we have that, now we have view week. And view week is not like list.map across the boxes because I don't actually have a list. So view week takes a week. So I have list.map. Let me just do this. I don't actually know how to deconstruct these things. I don't think that's going to work. Huh. Cool, so that works. Alright, so that's how I can get at those, and then I will just go ahead and view all of them. And I don't know, like maybe just keeping this as a list is nicer. I don't know. I'm playing. Playing is fun. Playing is cathartic. Okay, so now we have like this view week thing that for sure, definitely, no matter what, makes those 7 things, and that's nice. And I call this a box, but really I'm going to say it's like a... No, I'll leave it as a box, whatever. Okay, so what's the next thing? We want to have multiple of these, right? So now we have just a... I'm going to say a list of weeks. I'm going to say mock weeks. So this will just be sort of mock week a few times. And so now I will do that. So now, so we kind of want them to show up, you know, side by side, which would be nice. So what we're going to do is we're going to have like the week is going to be style display inline block. There we go. Now we have boxes showing up side by side. And what we want to do is like our mock week, we really want to be able to give like what the hues are. So let's just say H1, H2, H3, H4, H5, H6, H7. And this actually takes then a hue, 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 hue. I think that's 7. I don't actually know. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes. And so now when we say mock week, we can say like, oh, let me fill these in. Okay. So now we say mock week, we'll just say H1, H2, H4, H0, H1, H3, H2. Okay, so that's a week. And that's 3 weeks. I'll just like fiddle with some numbers. Okay, that should work. Of course it doesn't. What is H? Oh, H6 isn't a thing. My goodness. Look at that, the type system being reasonable and not let me do things that weren't sensible. There is no H7. That's why we have the type system. Okay, cool. So we have these weeks and they look pretty good. And I like it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 things down. That's week 1, 2, 3. And I have at most 25 more minutes. At least 10 or 15. I'm going to take a break real quick. I'm going to go ahead and commit what I have. What all types do we have? I was kind of like laying that out. Box, week, hue. And real quick, just because it helps me feel good about myself, I will go ahead and do this. And I will share that later. Okay. So that's good. We have an activity graph of sorts. Let's look at our sort of mock-up. We know already we want some color. I'll just go ahead and pick that color. I don't remember what my color picker is. Oh, color meter is fine. It's not good, but whatever. Sure, 3273, 155. That'll work. 3273, 155. Of course, I already forgot the color. Goodness gracious. 32, or 34, 74, 155. Sure, whatever. 34, 74, 155. And I'll make a macro. Come to the beginning. 34, 74, 155. Come down like that far. Run it, run it, run it, run it. Done. Boom. We have our activity graph kind of looking all right. So that's pretty nice. What else do we want to do next? Okay, so that's kind of the whole reason I went here in the first place. We have a few extra things. We have like this thing. Okay, so less is actually gray. If we look, it's not clear. It's gray. So let's just say H0 is not exactly this. H0 is going to be 0, 0, 0, 0.2. Nah, it's horrible. 0.05, I don't know. Also, my rims are not so pleasant. I'm just going to kind of tweak them because I haven't done the font math here. Whatever. We'll actually say we'll use pixels and we'll let the designer or the front end people fix it. So how many is that actually? Let me just go ahead and see what it is. 14 by 14. Okay, so whatever. 14 pixels. 14 pixels. And then we'll do 2 pixels between them. And that looks a lot nicer. Okay, so I don't really care about adding this this thing. This is not exciting to me. I didn't actually look to see how the gray looked. It looks alright. I want to make it a little bit darker. And this is not what I normally spend my time on at all, which is why it's enjoyable when it is the thing I spend my time on. Yeah, it's still too dark. Okay, whatever. We'll go in the middle. We'll just do that, maybe. Alright, I feel good with that. Actually, what I'm going to do to really make that right, so I'll just jump each one of these things up a little bit, and then things will feel better. Yeah, that's good. Okay, so what's next? We want to let's represent. I don't really care about the months per se. I can always just kind of handle that elsewhere. Hover would be nice. Okay, this thing says like the 34 drips consumed, and it knows what day it is. So our box right now has a particular hue. I'm going to add metadata to our box. So the hue and some metadata. And I kind of separated these things, but we know that the hue is derived from the metadata, but I don't care. I'm fine keeping these things separate. So we'll say type alias metadata is, we'll have some text. We'll have a date. We'll import date. And for our sort of, I'm going to have a date generator. Takes a string and it returns always a date because, yeah, the date string. Actually, there's an extras package I've not used. Actually, let me play with fancy search. Not fancy search, sorry. I was thinking of the other thing. It doesn't matter. Date extra. We'll choose the top one, sure. There was extra metadata here. Not useful. I'll open them both because I've not used. This certainly does a crap ton more. No idea if I want all that. This is all I want. So Justin Mims date extra so that I can get date from parts and not have to deal with like a maybe date. From calendar date is what I want. Okay. So real quick, we will Elm package install this thing. Yeah. Okay. And I will look. Oh, sorry, I've already got Vim open. We will import date.extra. Let's just look at the docs. Justin Mims. Date.from parts. From calendar date. We also want to include date here. Okay, so we will have date.from calendar date. So here we'll just say date, so text equals, I don't know, like 4 drips consumed, and we'll make this better. Actually, no, I'm going to say, we have very explicit data, so like we'll say consumptions, and this is an int. And actually, we know we want to have like a type that's like, sorry, we don't want to have some function. It's called like hue that takes a metadata. Okay, I was trying to avoid this, but whatever. Into a hue. So hue metadata. And so we can just do like a, I'm not sure how I want to do this. It would just be basically based on the, yeah, whatever. We'll say metadata dot consumptions divided by step. Where step is like, I don't know, 3. I don't ever format these this way. And okay, so like if it's 0, sorry, do we want, I never remember, 3 divided by 2. Okay, I want double slash. So if it's 0, we have h0. It's, sure, we'll just do this. Anything else we'll call h5. Okay, I don't know. I think it's a little upset about this, but I'm not really sure what's happening. Oh, man. Okay, yeah, so box should only take metadata now. And so now this whole like thing where I was specifying the boxes is silly. Let's go when I view box. So box only has a metadata now. So when I view box, it's sort of assuming that it can get those hues. Where's view box? Let's just get the hue, so whatever. We have hue for the box metadata. Box background color takes a box, but it doesn't actually need that. We'll say hue color. That's what was feeling funny about that. So hue color takes a hue, and things get a lot simpler. Oh. Okay, hue color for the hue. Okay, and it gets the hue out of the metadata. And I don't know, this might run. Hue color, hue. Okay. Oh, box hue. Alright, can't take hues anymore. Has to take metadatas. So this gets more complicated, but that's fair. Okay, so we'll go ahead and break this out. Metadata, that's 1. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and gives back a week. That can go away. We will now say like, I don't know, do that. Ugh. Look for an H, replace it with an M. That stinks right there. Having this H1 be passed along, whatever, we'll just deal with it. Yep, that's what I figured. Okay, so this we need like some metadata. So I'm just gonna say like, I don't know. Week 1 M1 is going to be metadata. I don't need to say metadata. I need to say text. Not text. Let's say consumptions. We'll call it like 3. And we will say the date is date dot from calendar date. We don't need the date yet. We know we want the date. We don't need the date yet. That just makes things harder. I'm not going to deal with that yet. Okay, so we know this. We want to have like 7 of those. Ugh. We're going metadata 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Whatever. It's not right. So 3, and then like, I don't know, we'll say like 4 consumptions that day, no consumptions that day, 6 that day because the dude binged. And I don't know, something ridiculous, 15, sure. Which actually makes me realize that my scale is wrong, so step. I'm just going to make the step 1. So kind of go up 1 for every consumption. And then I'll kind of be more, maybe more realistic here. And then the 7th day. And another 1 consumption day. And so now this week will be week 1 M1, week 1 M2, week 1 M3, week 1 M4, week 1 M5, week 1 M6, week 1 M7. Okay, so that's how we do a mock week, and we will have the second week. Could have done a regex replacement, certainly. And for now, I'm just going to copy this and do that regex replace that I avoided. Week 1, week 2. Oh, well. Okay, so this should be running again, but now we've got metadata. And so now what we can do, first off, let's go ahead and make it different so that it doesn't look awful. So let's make up numbers again. I meant to say 0 there. Okay, and it would be nice to have like some hover. I'm not going to have a fancy hover or anything, but now that I have the metadata, I can at least say, okay, when we view a box, I have like the overlay text. That's not really what we call it, right? Oh my goodness, I've gotten far enough away from HTML that I don't remember. I'll say title. Sure, we'll say title foo. I don't have title for sure. Okay, so now our title text really needs to be derived from, so let's say like it's supposed to say something like 34 drips consumed, sure. So we will say toString of the metadata's consumptions plus drips consumed. Nice. I mean, it'd be nicer if it were like a a pretty overlay like that, but we'll run with it. Okay, so from this point, right, we can just generate. Ooh, this will be fun. So this will be the last thing I do. Let me go ahead and commit, and then I'll add this kind of fun thing, flourish at the end. I'm going to say add box metadata. So I have wanted to use Elm fuzzer? Elm test has like this fuzz module. It was meant to be used in tests. Sorry, that's not what I want. I want generators. Derp. So Elm random generator. Probably random.pcg. Okay, so we just want a thing that can generate an integer in a given range. So we want random, totally gives us that. So int this gives us a generator, and generator is a recipe, and so to run one we need to use generate, which inevitably needs, yeah, I haven't done random values. Okay, awesome. So we'll introduce random values to Josh today. Okay, so alright, but this goes out through a command. I don't actually want to tie in commands for all this crap. which obviously I have to do because that would be impure. Just kidding. So no generators today, but I guess I'll just kind of randomize the data myself just for the sake of having it be a little nicer. So we'll just add some more data. Okay. Yeah, so that's good enough for now. And so let me go ahead and take a screenshot. Okey-doke. And that'll be it. Thanks for watching me.